Hello everybody. Welcome to my next painting tutorial. This is going to be just a quick one. We're going to do clouds for this one. I think part of the reason why I wanted to do a tutorial with clouds was, I often get asked about profile pics, but also just the intimidation factor of taking photos with a green screen. And so I want to say that, you know, doing a profile can be very easy, and one way to get started is by just doing a photo with a nice scenic backdrop of the sky and clouds. And so I think that this is going to be a really good way if you're someone who's looking to do green screen and or just wants to do a simple profile pic. This is kind of a good beginner's point of creating a really neat dynamic scene without having to feel like you have to fill it with stuff behind you. I think there's definitely two camps out there. One being, not wanting to create such dynamic scenes in world. It's expensive, number one, and number two, for some of us, well, especially me, I find it incredibly boring filling up a scene. It's just a lot of work, and I don't particularly have an eye for it, so it's not my jam. And that's part of the reason why it kind of led me to wanting to do a green screen was to avoid doing any sort of backdrop in world because I didn't want to. And so that being said, if you are also wanting to dip your toes into the green screen pond, this is a good way of doing it. And so the first thing I would say, if you are interested in doing a little profile pic for yourself, this is going to be a good start. I would say in world, go ahead and take a picture of yourself behind a green or in front of a green screen and use a projector to kind of create the lighting. A good profile pic or any photo, the simple things you're going to need is obviously, a nice backdrop is going to help, but also having highlights and shadows that match the scene itself. And that's pretty easy. Most of you probably know how to do or have a general idea, and SL does help you when you take a picture in creating the highlights and shadows for you. So it's okay to use it. You don't have to go crazy. That's fine. We're just going to do a background to help give you a nice, cool looking scene. And so with that being said, I'm going to show you two versions. I'm going to show you the easy stylized version, and the second version is going to be the Ghibli version. The photo that you're seeing right now with Moth is going to be the standard version. The Ghibli version I have done in the past, maybe not as well as Ghibli, but it's passable. Was with Me and Pink. I think that it's kind of a scene stealer. It looks awesome. I think it really made the scene cool. And doing this is very achievable. I spent a lot of time on this one because I was trying to learn as I go, and I do think that creating a really cool scene effect like this will take you some time, but it's fun. If you know the basics, you'll be okay. And if you're looking for something simple, you can go back to doing something like this, which is literally going to take you 5 or 10 minutes and look cool, with the end result. So, that being said, my hope is that you will take this and you guys will be able to create your own profile pic. If you do and you're using this cloud method, please let me know. I do want to let you know ahead of time that the first method I'm going to be showing you, I learned from, I always butcher his name. I'm sure someone will correct me. Wallop, WLOP. Everyone is probably familiar with his work. But I also want to say that it is some of his brushes I will be using, which will be found in his pack behind a paywall on Gumroad. So if you do want his brushes, please go there. I would prefer not to give it out to you guys, only because I do want the artists to make this money for their work. The second method, the Ghibli method, it's going to be a real simple hard brush, and I'll show you what we're going to do with that one. Not behind a paywall or anything like that. I learned this method from various artists, but I think the one that comes to mind is Ross Draws. So do know that it's not mine. I learned it from two fantastic artists that know what they're doing, and I'm just passing off this knowledge to you guys because they were helpful enough to learn me through YouTube. So that being said, let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is pick your sky color. I will say that one of the things that I tend to do, and part of the reason why I don't pump out pics very quickly, is I do a lot of reference photos to get an idea, It's partly probably because I'm inexperienced in art in general, so it takes me a lot longer to come up with an idea. But what I generally will do is just take a lot of photos of environments that have really cool seeing sky um, scenes that have really interesting clouds as well. And it doesn't have to be a blue; it can be oranges and purples and pinks, and you'll see that in real life. And I think the two that I generally follow are these photographers specifically are in Japan and in Los Angeles, and so they generally will post really cool scenes that I will pin to my Pinterest board and kind of use as reference and color pick from. So again, if you're new, don't be afraid to color pick from a real life photo. There's nothing wrong with that. You guys are all beginners just like I was, and so use those colors to its fullest. So find something, color pick, or just use a blue, and that's fine too, and we can go from there. So that being said, here's a nice blue sky color. The first method we'll use is going to be the easy one, and so I'm just using a hard brush right now, and I'm just going to. Whoop, I'm on the eraser tool. I'm going to go to my layer, and I'm just there's no strategy here. I'm just placing down some color, and we're gonna make some magic happen. Okay, so that's it. Step one. Step two is going to be going to your smudge tool. Now I'm going to be using Wallup's brush, and it's going to be this one here. It looks kind of like some leaves that are just scattered around, and they're really great for pushing around the pixels. So let's do that and see how it looks. Okay. Now what I generally will do too is I will increase and decrease the size, and that will be helpful with giving it more realism. And that's what clouds are. I mean, they're going to be multiple different shapes. And that's what's going to sell the effect. And this is already looking good so far. Like, this is something I feel like I would see in real life. If you get closer, you can see a lot of that texture there. But it looks really, really cool. I mean, we've already spent, what, 30 seconds on this? Now, I have the light coming from the top left, so I just want to make sure I am following that. What I may do here, too, is I'm going to go back to my hard brush. I just want to add some more white in there so we can see more of those highlights. So, like I said, it's coming from the top left. I'm just going to dot some in, and then I'll smudge them into the cloud. Yeah, this is really cool. I love this. This looks great. You can keep going. Again, we're going to be increasing, shrink the size of the brush. Smudge it all around. Okay. And then I'm probably not going to do the rest of these. Maybe I will. I'll go quickly. But I think you guys get the hint that this is as easy as it looks. Like, I feel like I could look at these clouds and it would look like something I would see in a real life photo. So that's great news, and this is going to be, again, a really good starting point when you guys are trying to do your own photo with the green screen. So it doesn't have to be the whites moving into grays or or gray blues, you could easily use a lot of different colors. And I've had done um, a photo recently that I did with Sadar, and it was referencing an art inspired by another artist who's doing a Attack on Titan, and in that one we used a lot of oranges and purples, and it was really neat and good practice, and that's kind of help me get better with clouds. And so this is a great method, easy, super cool, and I think that all of you can do your own profile pic very easily using a sky backdrop, and I hope you do. Change it up if you want to, and use some other colors that isn't blue, and I think you'll find that you will do something that you're really happy with, and just make sure that your projectors are matching the colors that you plan on using for your background. So that being said, let's hop on and we'll do the second version. This will be the Ghibli one. Although I will say that I do have some pre-made clouds from Raw Straws pack. If you like the more cartoonish anime style um, clouds, actually really good to be honest. I have a feeling he probably has color dynamics set up on his. Give it that really interesting. Yeah, these are really cool. So this, you know what? We'll say that we have 3 total methods. This will be the second one if you want to do something simple and not, put as much work in it. And honestly, this clouds over here look really neat, and I would be perfectly happy with those. So again, that would be Raw Straws. It is behind a paywall. Again, I won't give you these brushes myself. I do want to make sure the artist is getting some money. So if you guys are interested, go ahead and grab his stuff, and they'll be as helpful as um, you know you make them. So let's go ahead and do a Ghibli cloud. All right, so the first thing is I'm going to get a hard brush, and I am going to change the hardness to about, let's just say 75. And then we'll have the lighting coming from the top left again. And I'm just getting some color, making sure there's shadow underneath the highlighted clouds. And I'm doing a smaller version, but let's work with whatever size you have, which is kind of funny because this actually looks really good from a from a distance. Um, this isn't everything, but it actually does look really good. Yeah, this is really cool. Honestly, like I feel like this is something I would have seen as a kid watching Dragon Ball Z. This is honestly like a really nice looking cloud that I think really fits if you're after this sort of style photo. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the mixer brush, and with the mixer brush, I'm gonna keep the same. I'm gonna drop the hardness again to about 75, 80. We'll just do 80 for this one, and then we're gonna push the colors around. And again, you just want to use different sizes because it'll help, again, create that realism that it is a cloud. We're just going to push these along. Okay, so this looks really good. I'm really happy with this. I'm just going to darken some of the shadows. Go back to my brush. Get a little bit of a darker color. I'm just going to put these right in here. I'm going to go back to the mixer brush. I'm going to push them around. Now, I will say that I probably spent about 20 to 40 minutes on that one, that first date photo that I did with Pink. I mean, that was a pretty intense cloud. Um, but I did use this method, and I think it came out really cool. So the last step you want to do, we've created all the shapes. We got, I would say 3 colors are usually pretty good. You have your highlight. Again, you want to just make sure that that's basically what's catching the light first. Your midtone, then your shadow. And then the last thing you want to do, and this is going to be the final step, is just you're going to go in with the same brush. And the great thing about this method is everyone's going to have a hard brush no matter what pack you get. And then you're going to just erase out some parts. Now, let me just show you what it's going to look like from a distance. Now, I'm going kind of small on my brush right now because if you do look at a cloud, there is going to be... I'm sorry, you know what? I've been on my mixer brush this entire time. There we go. I will say that when you look at a cloud in real life, there is going to be so many different shapes that you want to make sure you're reflecting that on the outer layer of your cloud. Here's how you sell it. This is going to be a little time consuming. I'm kind of glad I did a small cloud, but I want to make sure that you guys see the full effect here. Super cool. I'm really liking this so far. I'm just making the brush smaller now. It's going to change the size. There you go. Cool. Change the size again. And I think this actually looks really cool. There you go. You can clean this up too once you get closer. I generally will like to pull my canvas back to get a better view from a distance, and it kind of helps me keep on track. Make sure that I'm not missing the details that look off and catching the shadows and highlights that may seem like they need to go elsewhere. And voila, I'm good with this cloud. Looks really good. So it's 2 different methods of doing it. This is the Ghibli method. They use a little bit more color in theirs, but you get the idea. You can keep on playing with it to make it a little more visually interesting and clean it up. I think this looks fine. But for the most part, this is going to be a really easy and fun way for you guys to kind of create your own photos and profile pics. So I'm really excited. I hope you guys will get a chance to do this. If you do, please tag me, link me, let me see it. I'm really excited when you guys are learning new stuff as much as I'm excited when I'm learning new stuff. And, it's really fun seeing Second Life continue to evolve into bringing in really neat art into our Second Life avatars. So thank you for joining me for another tutorial. I appreciate it. Hopefully I'll do some more. It depends. I think my Gemini side tends to get a little bit distracted easily, and I do apologize for that, but I do hope that these are useful and you guys are enjoying it, and I look forward to seeing everyone's profile pics. So keep them coming. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.